The meeting you've just had, did you put a request to Australia that it also increase its troop commitment or its military commitment to that effort?
It was a topic because, as I said, Australia's been a stalwart contributor to this effort, and Tony's been crystal clear about why it's so important for us to defeat ISIL, not only for the good of the region and the people of Iraq, but ultimately for the people of the United States and Australia and people around the world. But what I explained to Tony was the same thing that I said in an interview yesterday in the United States. We're moving to a slightly different phase now. Initially, our goal was to stop the momentum of ISIL as it was sweeping through Iraq, and you were seeing too many Iraqi security force units scatter. And although, particularly in Anbar province in the west, you're still seeing ISIL take over isolated towns, you haven't seen the same momentum. The situation with respect to Iraqi security forces has stabilized, although the number of effective units is significantly smaller than it needs to be. So the next phase is for us to train and assist Iraqi security forces so that they can begin to build up and go on offense. We can provide close air support, we can provide logistics and intelligence, but ultimately they're the ones who are going to have to fight to push ISIL out of some of these areas that they've taken over. And in order for us to do that, we're going to have more trainers on the ground, and that is the reason why I authorized this additional number of U.S. troops. What hasn't changed is that it's not our folks who are going to be doing the fighting. Iraqis ultimately have to fight ISIL, and they have to determine their own security. But we are recognizing the need for us to ramp up Iraqi capabilities, not only the Iraqi security forces, but also some of the tribes in western Iraq that have shown a willingness to go against ISIL, but are outgunned and too often outmaneuvered at this stage. Now, I recognize that the United States, as one member of the coalition, has some unique capabilities in setting up the template, setting up the structure for that training to take place in a way that protects our people, ensures that we have the kinds of enablers that make it safe for our folks to be there, not without risk, but at least protects them against extraordinary risks. As we are setting that up, I am having conversations with Australia and other coalition partners that are already committed to putting trainers in to see how they can supplement and work with us in this overall effort. But the key point that I emphasized to Tony, and I'm emphasizing to all our coalition members, is our task here is to help Iraqis help themselves. This is not the same situation as we saw either in the Iraq War in 2003, 2004, 2005, or what we've been doing in Afghanistan, where our men and women have been much more in the front lines. It doesn't mean that there are not risks involved, and I'm very mindful of making sure that, as we look at these train and assist plans, that we're setting up the best possible circumstance for what is an inherently dangerous job. But it does mean that the principle that we're not in direct combat, that continues.
The President is absolutely right. The ISIL death cult is a menace to the whole world. They've declared war on the world, and it's good that the President, working with the Iraqi government, has assembled a strong coalition to assist the Iraqi government to respond effectively and ultimately to regain control over its own territory. I think it's very important that we never lose sight of the fact that this death cult is, to quote Malaysia's Prime Minister Najib, it's against God, it's against Islam, and it's against our common humanity, as we've seen repeatedly in recent months. So it is important to respond strongly, which is what the US-led coalition is doing. There are various different missions here. There's the Advise and Assist mission. There's a developing Train and Assist mission. Our priority at the moment is getting our special forces into Baghdad and then into the field. On the Advise and Assist mission that we've set them, that's happening, and I'm confident that our people will do good work. But the point that the President makes is absolutely right. In the end, no one is going to fight harder for Iraq than Iraqis will fight for themselves. And that's what we're doing. We are helping them to reclaim their country from something which is evil, from something which is a menace to them, and if it's allowed to remain, will be a menace to all of us.
Thank you very much, everybody.